him to take his shirt off.
No. Oh,
So
you
white's not the
insist.
best choice. Hey, welcome to the Second Shift Review. I'm Ethan. Joining me as always is the trifecta of Gary and Roderick. Today we're going to be reviewing the 2018 science fiction horror film Cloverfield Paradox, directed by Julius Ohan, written by Ornan Orzil, Doug Jung, and produced by J.J. Abrams. Let's start with our first impressions. Gary.
I liked it quite a bit. I like the mood in it and the style that they shot it in and everything. So, pretty good movie.
I liked it. I would recommend people watch it. Yeah. Real kind of spooky. It really reminded me of Alien, like the feel of it. I was just waiting for a xenomorph to pop out.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as good as 10 Cloverfield Lane, or particularly just regular Cloverfield. I feel it's just below those, but there's a lot going for it, so...
I thought it was better than the first Cloverfield, but not nearly as good as the second one.
Yeah, definitely. I felt it was confusing.
Yes.
Very confusing in that it felt
Yeah.
unfinished, maybe.
It felt kind of rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're like, we gotta get this movie out.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot that's not ever addressed again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they really try hard to tie them all together.
Yeah. Well, let's move into our...
It's a good looking chili dog you got there.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh shit!
Okay. Let's talk about the Shepherd Station, which is in space, and they're trying to come up with a viable energy source because Earth has been depleted of oil and all its other natural energy, and this is like a last-ditch effort for this space station to try and smash atoms together to produce energy. Gary? What do you think about the station?
Got the whole space station.
Its design, its function.
I thought that weird, like, gyro thing was weird.
I thought it was weird that it was...
What was the
key to
deal with
everything.
the gyro? Like they, the first gyro messes up, so
That's like
then
the
they
power
go and
supply.
use another
it's-
gyro to fix. I mean,
I think it's
did
the
they
same.
try to use another
It's the
one
same
to?
one.
It's the same gyro.
The first one gets lost.
Yeah.
It's just gone when they turn it on.
Oh, okay. But it caused the original, like everything to.
No.
Oh, okay.
The station, it mentions the lady's going up at the beginning, and that she's been up there for like 2.5 years or something, and they keep testing and it keeps failing.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning they finally do a test, and it finally succeeds for like a minute or two, and then it overloads and causes a I don't want to say explosion, but an explosion. Like it sends out a whole bunch of energy and atoms and stuff in every direction, and causes a rift in time and space and dimensions, and that's what causes everything to go crazy. Which the gyro just disappears. Everything just goes haywire. Some of their instruments break. Yeah. Then there's a it keeps flashing back to the main character's husband, and it mentions that her kids died in a fire that she caused. She had a portable generator thing that she had
like
made.
Made free energy or
yeah,
something like that.
and it malfunctioned and caused a fire and killed her 2 kids.
It was like
Was
free
it
energy.
like pirating energy?
Yeah.
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 Because she said at the
It was like for kids to like be able to read at night or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Then where are the worms?
It mentions right before they fire it that a guy is doing an interview about them testing it,
Yeah.
and he's written a book called The Cloverfield Paradox.
Mm.
And his name is Mark Stambler,
Okay.
which is the same last name as Howard Stambler from 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Mhm.
Maybe related, maybe not. Don't know. Kind of have the same ideas because he's talking about demons and sea monsters and stuff
Mhm.
being awoken. So a lot of people think that this is his brother or close relation.
Mhm.
And he's talking about how they shouldn't do this. He knows what's going to happen. It's going to cause chaos, and no one really pays attention.
Yeah.
And they fire it, and everything goes crazy.
he probably comes off as kind of a conspiracy theorist, just like his brother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, they also mentioned, I thought there was kind of a foreshadowing that they have a prayer before they fire it, and he hopes that God is on their side. And if you look at everything that happens with the movie, I would say God is not on their
Yeah.
side.
It was like.
No. And then when they fire it, it causes a red flash, which kind of lines up with 10 Cloverfield Lane
Mhm.
and some of the blackouts and stuff that happened in the original Cloverfield,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting. And then Earth disappears.
Hmm.
And they're freaking out. It's gone.
This is like, where is it?
Where'd it go? You've destroyed the Earth.
Mhm.
It ended up being like on the other side.
Yeah, they're on the complete other side of the sun, and when they scan, it scans everything except for directly in line with the Earth, which is on the other side of the sun, so as they move, the Earth moves, and they don't see it.
Mhm.
Which they're not that far away. And then you get introduced to a lady in the wall.
That part was
Friggin' like that was one of the crazier
Yeah.
parts because she's stuck in that wall, and then they have all these like wires and stuff running
going
through her.
through her.
and then
Somehow through some kind of
space medical
It mentions
futuristic technology, they
that.
are able to
One of the many
revive her.
corporations that the Takagato Corporation owns is the Yoshida Medical Research,
Mhm.
which they use deep sea fish to do medical research and improve humans. So that was a tie-in to the other Cloverfield movies.
What about their bagel maker?
It's just a
research?
3D printer. They have those now.
Yeah.
Look
The
terrible.
worst bagel maker ever.
Yeah, it looked terrible. When you first hear the woman in the wall, you hear a subliminal low audio roar that's the same roar as the Cloverfield monster, which I thought was interesting.
That is pretty interesting. I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
that is pretty interesting.
Her right after that happens, Earth goes crazy, and you flash back to the husband, and he sees explosions and stuff. When you first watch it, you think it's like terrorist attacks, which they've been mentioning that their countries are starting to squabble over resources like oil and stuff, and so you think it's an attack from another country. But the second time you hear him mention, he saw it happen.
Mhm.
He saw what it was, basically.
Yeah.
And you're led to believe later that, okay, maybe it's the monster.
Mhm.
And then he mentions that they know what did it,
Yeah.
not who did it,
Mhm.
which meant that's another call sign to the monster, which I
Mhm.
thought was cool. Yeah, the lady, she gets repaired from the doctor with cellular growth and experiments, which I thought was interesting.
Mhm.
Then you see the worms disappear,
Yeah.
and the worms get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
and then they wind up
And that guy's just like,
inside.
Yeah, his
does
eye.
this look okay? He's like grabbing on his skin and stuff. He's like,
Yeah, he's
does
like,
this look okay?
I want to know the worms that end up inside that guy's body.
Yeah.
And then he completely starts acting against his normal character.
Mm-hmm.
Are the worms intelligent and they're controlling him?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. Like the worms are controlling his brain?
He starts
That's
to get
why
like
he's acting different?
I don't know.
real suspicious of
'Cause
everybody.
He acts suspicious. His eye starts messing.
Yeah.
He 3D prints himself a gun, which you're not allowed to
Yeah.
do. Which that brings me to another point. The ship seems to be alive
Mm-hmm.
because doors open on their own. It moves and makes noises on its own, and random stuff is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Which later they kind of attribute to this whole reality doesn't want them there. They're supposed to be there, and it's trying to like reject them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't.
And then the worm guy proceeds to die a very
Mhm.
horrible death, just vomiting worms to
Mhm.
death.
I was wanting the worms to like bust out of his chest.
Yeah. Soon after that, gets into the weirdest part of the movie, I would say, is where the mechanics guy gets his arm cut off through the wall.
Yeah. He's repairing
He's repairing a panel
where they
using
pulled
that
the girl out.
magnetic foam stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the arm, they catch it, so the arm is crawling down the hallway, and he notices that it's his arm that's been cut off, but it's
Mhm.
alive.
Yeah.
So then they catch it, like a animal, and they put it in a container, and it starts acting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "How do you know it's not your arm?" And he's like, "'Cause I'm flipping you off right now."
Yeah.
And
I wanna know.
and then it acts like it wants to write something, so they give it a marker, and it tells them
Yeah.
to cut open the worm guy's body.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Okay," I want to know wherever the arm came from. How does he already know that?
Yeah.
Is this from the future? How's this working?
It doesn't explain.
No, it doesn't.
Just
Um,
you
I figured that it was probably from
the same time period, just a different reality. But then again, it'd have to be from the future.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
knows
you're right.
about they cut him open and they find the gyroscope in the guy's body. So how does he already know that it was in the body?
and then the girl, she knew that
The girl that got caught in the wall, she knew that one guy, or at least the one in her reality,
was a traitor because they had found all that
Mhm.
stuff. So she had
Yeah,
to be a
that's a
little
good
bit from the
point.
future too.
Yeah.
So
Or had it already come out that he had betrayed them?
Yeah.
well, I mean, it must. If I would figure if something like that was going to come out where somebody was a traitor, it would be.
later on where it was like crucial, you know.
Well, I mean, they can't just send people back to Earth. He might have been in the brig or whatever until they could send him back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Another hard to explain, confusing moment.
Yeah.
And so they get the gyroscope out of the guy, and they plug it back in, and they figure out they're on the other side of the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and that they're in a different universe, or a different reality. The husband is calling NASA, I guess, the whole time.
Yeah. Does he have like a buddy that works at NASA?
Well, I think he's good friends with the girl on the satellite, his wife's
Mhm.
boss. I think he's good friends with him.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it is. And he's driving away and finds this little girl
Mhm.
in the rubble, and you see this giant shadow of a monster.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking there's a lot of significance in this girl,
Mhm.
and they're tying her to the manga before and
Mhm.
thinking that she has some kind of control over the monster or monsters, because her last name is Japanese, even though she's a white girl,
Mhm.
and it translates into monster's sister.
Okay.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
So I think there's more to her because nothing ever comes of her. She's
Yeah.
just there. So they go and he gets her to a bunker, and he tells she's American,
Mm-hmm.
and it mentions he calls NASA and tells NASA to try and get in touch with her parents, which I guess maybe means that she was. Well, she mentions she was with her uncle. That her
Yeah.
uncle's dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's confusing. And vague.
Yeah.
Then they try and they think they figure out how to get back, and they have a water leak, and that girl gets flash frozen
Yeah.
in space. That I thought was really cool.
Yeah. That was,
Oh yeah, because she was trying to keep the water leak, and then they just like let all that in.
Yeah, she almost drowned. Well, she drowns or almost drowns, and then gets flash frozen.
Yep.
Which I was thinking, if they had the cellular regrowth stuff, they could maybe chip her out and revive her because she was flash frozen.
But there's still that opening into space.
Yeah.
So if they like open the door, I guess.
Well, I think the ice would have. The ice filled the whole room,
Yeah.
so it might have plugged it.
I don't know.
That's one
I
interesting
don't.
question.
I've never been to space.
They don't have the
so-
resources to dig her out,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she's just there, and they have other problems.
So does she make it back with them?
As far as
She
I know,
just-
she's still frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be able to go send a team and get her out later. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, she is Chinese. They got some crazy stuff going on over there. The girl on the wall mentions that in this universe her children didn't die, and that if she went back to Earth she could see her kids, which convinces her she should go home now.
Which is the whole reason why that blonde girl doesn't recognize her, because she's usually, or I guess doesn't recognize her,
Well-
she's usually a ground person.
She never met her at all in this universe, but they know each other like they're good friends in that universe. The CO2 messes up, and they have an explosion and causes the whole station to go crazy, and part of it's like off kilter.
Yeah, that's the weird magnet scene.
Yeah.
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 Where the fluid metal.
Yeah, the magnetic metal.
Yeah.
It comes out of the wall, and it kind of looks like it's like
Oh,
hands
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
like-
It's
like,
coming for him.
Won't get you.
And on the wall, it shows that a power panel is manufactured by the Tagagato Corporation, which comes up again, and I don't think the ship is like stretching out its hands. I think it's just because he mentions there's a magnetic problem, and it's just pulling the metal closer to it, and then
But the metal wants to stay.
it wants to stay together, so it
Yeah.
finds him and wraps him up, and then it causes the explosion.
Yeah.
The pilot or everybody goes to try and right the tilt
Yeah.
of the ship, because it can only tilt so much before it breaks, and they won't be able to power up the energy producer.
Yeah.
And the captain figures out that he has to do it manually, and that he has to sacrifice himself to right the ship.
But he should still be alive, right?
He's got a
No.
spacesuit.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, he'll eventually run out of air, but he's on that part, which he causes to break off and goes off. And
Yeah.
my theory about that piece is that in the end, when they fire it back up and go back to their reality, that piece travels with them, and then it goes further back in time, and it falls into the ocean
Okay.
in the first Cloverfield movie
Yeah.
and wakes up the monster. That's my thinking.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because it mentions the satellite falls, so, and the Tagagato Corporation probably went and investigated it and saw that it was from the future and that it was their equipment, and they're like, oh, we better cover this up.
So it goes back 20 years and falls in the ocean?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's my theory.
That's possible.
Then the chick goes on a killing spree, or trying killing spree,
Yeah.
because she's trying to kill everybody to turn this station into her station.
Mm-hmm. To take it back to her Earth.
Yeah, and
To
save
stop
everybody.
the
Well, that's her
war
Earth.
or something.
She's just trying to keep it there and
But
continue the experiment.
She would have had no chance of taking them with her, would she have?
No.
Couldn't just kidnap them to.
No,
make
they
this
wanted to go back to their. Everybody was in
Mhm.
agreement. They wanted to go
Could
back
they
to
have
their
even
time.
lived in the other time?
I don't know. It kind of seemed like the reality was trying to kill them
Yeah.
or get them out of there because it was impeding with the flow of time and reality or
Mhm.
something. I don't know. So then the main character managed to trick her and suck her out the airlock,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Mhm.
And
I thought it was going to be more violent
yeah.
when she got sucked out. Like she would have
Well, it
exploded
kind
or
of pans
something.
back, so you don't really see what happens to her.
Yeah.
She just gets sucked out, which she could explode. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they fix everything, and they go back to their universe.
Mm-hmm. With the doctor's dead.
Yeah. And they just abandon ship, and they're just
Mhm.
like, come home now.
Yeah.
And they tell the husband,
That they're coming back.
yeah,
He's like, why?
there's monsters everywhere. And you're
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
They
Then
kind of keep that secret the whole time.
when the satellite comes in.
Yeah. The
That's
Cloverfield monster pops
You
up.
know, the Cloverfield monster, like, I know it's the same monster,
Or it looks like it's the
Mhm.
same monster on the face and everything, but in
Way
Paradox, it was huge.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it looked like it was stretching to the top
Yeah.
of like the atmosphere, like
Yeah.
way bigger than King Kong and Godzilla and.
Some incarnations of Godzilla. Some are huge. The
Mhm.
newest ones that have come out are huge.
Really?
Yeah,
That
they're
big?
that big. Yeah.
what I think they should have done at the end. Instead of them getting back in contact with them, they're just like, we gotta go. And then the end of the first Cloverfield, that's them.
Yeah. That would
Like if it cut to
yeah,
that
that would
scene,
match up
that
pretty
would have
good.
been.
But this mentions
pretty
that
good.
it still could. You
Yeah.
know, well, I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know.
I'm
It's-
gonna say.
There's so much confusing
Yeah.
timelines.
The craziest
and
thing that
everything.
the craziest thing and one of the bigger things in the whole Paradox is that report in the middle of it, wherever they or at the beginning of it, wherever they say that this could cause like
Chaos through
yeah
time
demons and
space
everything and different.
everything.
But it also makes
Yeah.
it to where in the Cloverfield movies now they can do so much.
They can
have
do a lot, yeah.
because they can
Because
do
it's
it.
explained by the particles and the time and the space and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's talk about some hidden elements, which I've already mentioned: the Targado Corporation
Mhm.
and the Yoshida Corporation, and the Bold Ventura Corporation, which is still owned by Targado,
Yeah.
built the space station.
Mhm.
The Slusho makes an appearance. When they fire it, there's a Slusho bobblehead on
Mhm.
the counter. It slightly mentions that the Targado is a deep sea mining corporation.
Yeah.
There's a Kelvin reference to the gas station when they're trying to get gas at the very beginning of the movie. There's
Mhm.
a Kelvin gas station again. That's about
Yeah.
it. It connects everything.
Yeah.
Gary?
Anything? Any
No,
secrets
Uh,
you found?
Now, any secrets in that? Not really, except that they were going to do a Addams Family crossover with the whole.
That would be really weird.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. No, I didn't really find as many spoilers in this one as I did
Yeah.
the other ones.
It's
Where
kind of
they
all
had
laid out.
Just
for you.
constant.
Yeah.
It gave some more questions.
Yeah.
Like, kind of just leaves you like, kind of like.
It gives you a
what?
lot of answers, but you don't know how those answers tie in with everything else.
Which That's what the other two movies
Yeah.
did too.
What-
just
what
kind of
were
leave
those
you with
worms?
questions.
I mean, like those worms where they just.
The worms were used to eat biological waste.
Oh, okay.
So that any waste they had, they would put it in there. The worms would eat it. It's a good way to dispose of waste.
Oh, okay.
But the worms that were in the case looked different than the ones that came out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's a correlation there.
One big question.
I just want to know how do you eat fried worms?
Yeah.
One big question was what happens with that hand, because even after
Yeah.
the guy
Yeah.
gets killed in the magnet
It's
deal,
still alive.
I
Yeah.
think
That really bothers
it's still
me.
alive because it's doing like this.
Yeah, it's all bored.
the
Yeah.
other guy in the alternate universe is still alive, and that's why that arm is still alive.
Well, it mentioned that station fell into the ocean and everyone
Yeah.
was killed.
Yeah.
Unless that arm came from a
Third dimension.
and there's a third version that's alive the whole time.
Dimensions on dimensions.
Except he's
On
missing his arm.
dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
They mentioned that 2 more movies might be coming out.
Mhm.
Speculation. So we'll see about that. Let's give our final thoughts.
I thought it was a good movie. Left you wanting more. Like, I think it left you wanting a little too much more, but overall it was a pretty good movie. Recommend it. Gary, what do you think?
I thought it was pretty good. It does still leave some loose ends, which hopefully they tie up in the next Cloverfield. But I liked it.
I thought it was okay. It left too many unanswered questions and too confusing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't terrible, but I feel that it will get better as more of them come out and explain some stuff, and it will kind of improve this movie by those other movies. That's my thinking. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give it 7.5 gigantic sea monsters.
I'm gonna give it a 7.8 worms out of 10.
I'm gonna give it 6 bored arms out of 10. So make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, like us on Twitter, Facebook,
Comment.
comment everywhere.
Tell us.
Tell us what you want us to review next.
I just want to know your favorite color.
Tell us your favorite color. Tell us what you like about Gary's shirt.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.